What's up, everyone? We're back. This will be my first real video. I appreciate anyone that checked out the intro video and that already took the time to subscribe. Really appreciate that. It's cool to see and it means a lot. With that being said, let's get right into this first video. So today I want to talk to you guys about morning routines and journaling. A morning routine is so important, and we're going to start with that. So why is a morning routine important? So first off, I think it's just because it's structure. It's a foundation to build on. It's a way to get your day off on the right foot. And the cool thing about a morning routine is there's no universal morning routine. Anyone can experiment and play around and find out what works best for them. There's it's like an old saying at this point, and there's so many different variations of this quote probably, but own your morning, own the day. And that's pretty self-explanatory. You get up, you have a great morning, the odds are you're gonna have a better day. And if all else fails, at least you had a good morning, and you chalk that up as a win. So one example that I think is pretty interesting is Jocko Willink. So if you aren't familiar with Jocko, he is an ex-Navy SEAL. He's kind of like a coach. He coaches businesses and whatnot. And this is a very extreme example, but every day he gets up at like 4:30 to 5 a.m. and he takes a picture of his watch. And this signifies, him getting up early, absolutely crushing a workout. And, he has already accomplished that for the day. So from there, it's like, that's such a great thing to build on right there. And obviously that's an extreme example, but I think a cool one. Another way I like to think about the morning routines is kind of the Stoic philosophy way. And one of the goats of Stoic philosophy is the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. And he has a really interesting morning routine. So I thought I would share that with you guys. So number one, get up early. I mean, we've all been there where we've had days where we've slept in or we don't want to get out of bed. And we all know that just increases your chances of having a shitty day. Like if you get up early and you start getting after it right away, odds are you're going to have a better day. So get up early. 2, sit with your journal. And this is something he would do. And his journal ended up, becoming super famous. It got turned into Meditations, which is like best-selling book. And there's just infinite wisdom in that. And that's something I'm going to touch on later in this video. Number 3, try to see the good in people. So some kind of gratitude practice, practicing perspective. Number 4, strove to do what is right. So maybe just trying to be objective and how good of a human being is he being recently. Number 5, knowing that being emperor did not make him better than others. I think that's a really cool one. Just kind of checking your ego first thing in the morning, knowing whatever success, money, accolades you have. It doesn't really make you better than anyone still. And then 6, meditated on his mortality. And some of you guys might be like, well, why would he meditate on his mortality? Well, if you think about it, if you think to yourself, I'm going to die one day, first thing you get up in the morning, that might motivate you to have a good day. So that's his kind of little morning routine. And I thought that was pretty cool and interesting. Other hacks to, make the most of your morning: breakfast. I personally don't eat breakfast because I like to intermittent fast. But if you are eating breakfast, make sure you have a healthy breakfast. Start your day right. Eat some protein, maybe some good eggs, bacon, I guess, if that's your thing. But like protein, maybe some dark leafy greens like spinach. I know Tim Ferriss recommends that. You don't just want a bunch of empty carbs. You don't want to start off your day and eat a big old bowl of like Cocoa Pebbles, even though they are amazing. But you probably don't want to do that. Second thing would be caffeine. I love coffee personally. Getting caffeinated in the morning, that really helps me start my day off right. I like to drink coffee black just because I know I'm, not putting extra calories into it. But there is good stuff you can put in your coffee, like honey, cinnamon. There is good creamers out there, but you got to be careful for like the majority of creamers is just straight sugar and like bad sugar and fat you're putting in your coffee. So if you are going to do caffeine, make sure you're smart about that. Meditation is a huge thing to do in the mornings, especially if you're about to have like a long day at work and you need to be very focused and productive. Meditating can really, put you in a good state so that you have kind of optimal focus and productivity throughout the day. And you're just going to have less stress and be less pissed off. So those are extra bonuses. Another thing is exercise if you can fit it in your morning. If you can't exercise, one thing I really have been high on lately is cold showers. So taking a shower and then, trying to end it with like 30 seconds to a minute of just straight cold. And obviously, start small and then kind of work your way up. And while you're doing that, you can kind of practice breath work too. And that's a really just cool way to start off your day. Give you a little extra zap of energy in the morning, kind of that feeling frisky type of feeling. And to sum up the morning routines, set yourself up for success. Find some consistency in your mornings. Find out what works for you. We don't all have to wake up at 5 a.m. like Jocko Willink and do an incredibly hard workout. I mean, that's not really realistic, right? But find what time works for you. Find some time where you can do some of these things before you have to get to work. And if you're a person that has to get to work at like the ass crack of dawn and get up at 5 a.m., maybe focus on a wind down routine then in the evening, or a routine you do after work to kind of, reset yourself. So the next thing I want to talk about is journaling. And this is something, it took me a while to get into, but since I've gotten into it, it's like, I don't know, it's really cool. And it's definitely, I think, one of the most important things I do now. I started doing it kind of at the beginning of April, like as all this COVID chaos kind of started to happen. And, I kind of felt the anxiousness from it. And I tried to find an outlet for that. And journaling happened to be it. So first off, I kind of want to talk about the misconceptions of journaling. For some reason, especially like males, it's, it kind of has a stigma like, oh, you journal, like you're soft. Like, what, you want to talk about your feelings? Like, what are you, a wussy? That kind of thing. But that couldn't be further from the truth, because really it's just an extremely powerful way to, first off, write down your thoughts and then examine, analyze them, be able to then come back and clarify those thoughts. And it's kind of a nice way to relieve anxiousness. Whatever you have going on that's, chirping in your head, you can kind of get it down on a piece of paper, and that kind of slows down the mind and helps relieve some of that anxiety. So one type of journaling would be morning pages, and that's just waking up in the morning and, within a 30 minutes or an hour of waking up, you journal. And I really like this term that Tim Ferriss, I think, coined, called brain vomit. Like, journaling does not have to be good writing. It can be literally brain vomit. Like, whatever comes to your head, just put it down on a piece of paper. And I'm telling you, I think it'll make you feel better. So don't worry about writing a novel or anything, It can be thoughts, it can be goals, short-term or long-term. It can be your fears, it can be things you're grateful for. And then if it's like at the end of the day, say it's not morning pages, it can be reflection. You can reflect on your days, your weeks, your months, all that kind of thing, your relationships, all that good stuff. Kind of going along with the brain vomit, and it doesn't have to be good writing. There's no right way to journal. Everyone, kind of like morning routines, there's no right way necessarily to morning routine. Like, it's important to experiment and kind of see what works best for you. And if you miss a day or two and you don't journal, like, who cares? It's not a big deal. Like, you shouldn't feel like pressure, like, oh, I didn't journal yesterday, like, and let that kind of get into your head. Like, that's not what the point of journaling is. And going off, again, there is no right way to journal. Some days it could be a sentence, other days it could be a page. You just kind of have to gauge that yourself and, once again, figure that out for yourself. Your journal is for you and nobody else. When you're journaling, you're doing it for yourself, and don't, come at it from a perspective of like, who's going to read this or any of that kind of nonsense. Why I personally like journaling the most is because it helps me get like all my anxious thoughts that I'm having down on a piece of paper and kind of be able to like freeze frame them. So like, boom, you put your thoughts down, they're there on the piece of paper. From there, you can try to leave them on the piece of paper, walk away from them, let them sit, maybe then come back to them, rethink about them, clarify them or whatnot. But it's a good way to like put them down, freeze frame them there, and kind of let them go at times. And that can really help relieve some anxiety. I have to mention Ryan Holiday and Tim Ferriss for this one. They were the biggest influences on why I started journaling. I'm going to drop a link below for a video that Tim Ferriss did on journaling I thought was really helpful. He goes a lot more in depth about the whole process and like kind of different ways he journals. And Ryan Holiday, you know, big proponent of Stoic philosophy, and the Stoics all kind of journaled. That was just a really big thing they did. And one of his books, his most recent book, is Stillness is the Key, and he actually has an entire chapter on journaling. It's like 6 pages, but there's a lot of good nuggets in there as well. And one quote from Ryan Holiday from that chapter is, "How you journal is less important than why you are journaling." And I think that couldn't be more true. Like I said, there's no right way, but as long as your intentions are good, that's the most important thing. Why you are journaling, not how you are journaling. And the writer Julia Cameron said that journaling can act as spiritual windshield wipers and, you know, clean off kind of the fog, clean off those anxious thoughts. And I think that's really cool too. I'll leave you guys with this and just go over a list of people who all journaled. And it goes anywhere from Marcus Aurelius, who we talked about, to Queen Victoria, to Ben Franklin, to Da Vinci, who apparently carried a journal notebook on him at all times, to JFK, to Einstein, to Charles Darwin, and even to Jennifer Aniston. So the list is very diverse and it's a very long list. So I'd encourage you to maybe check out, you know, different famous people throughout history that journaled. So to sum up, I wanted to do this for the first video. I thought this could kind of kick off the channel well, and morning routines and journaling kind of go hand in hand in a way. And I hope you got some value out of that. I'll just leave you on definitely experiment and in all facets of life, but with a morning routine. Get up early. The earlier you get up, the quicker you're going to fall asleep at night and the better sleep you're going to get. That's just a fact. And then experiment with different ways to journal and like processing, analyzing, examining your thoughts. So hopefully you got some value out of that. You know, this is the first real one I've done since the intro video. So it's very rough, it's very raw, so I'm still learning a lot. So like always, any subs, likes, and feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you.